And with that out of the way, on to our final topic. As always, the Judge Report, where we update you on our longtime close personal friend and now current head coach of the New York Giants, Joe Judge. And the draft is about a month away. Correct me if I'm wrong, Kev.
A little over a month, but who knows what's going to happen with that? I mean, are you going to put people in a room, or are you just going to virtually draft at this point?
Gosh, I didn't even think of that.
Isn't it like somewhere awesome this year? Like
maybe it's in Vegas. I think they might be pushing Vegas really hard. I don't know. They should put it back in Philadelphia because that was the best draft ever.
We like started a revolution and a new way to do the draft. Kev, where are they?
So it's in Paradise, Nevada, April 23rd through 25th.
In Pleasure, Nevada. No, Paradise. Paradise, Nevada.
Intercourse, Pennsylvania.
I feel like Judge has the best one of the best running backs in the league, Saquon Barkley. He's got a young, up-and-coming quarterback that has potential. Do they have receivers? Do they have an offensive line? What do they need? Like Odell Beckham's gone. Like they have no big names anymore.
This is a rich wide receiver draft and a rich defensive back draft.
Yes.
Those guys are going to fall, probably to even like the fourth round. Some of the really good guys.
There's some incredible receivers. I totally agree with you, Bob. And you kind of run down that list, and we can do a segment on it closer to the actual draft. There may be 10 legitimate receivers that are worthy of being in the top 2 rounds that won't. But just based on position and need. But when could you see 10 NFL caliber guys that, they all run in the mid 4s, they all catch the ball with their hands, they all do the right routes? Like, there's an abundance of really good guys, and there's 3 or 4 that are really sick.
Who would you say are like the top 2 receivers that Judge should go after?
I think you can debate it, obviously, based on what your preferences is. But there's Judy, the kid out of Alabama. There's Jefferson, the kid out of LSU. Oh, yeah. There is the kid out of Oklahoma, CeeDee Lamb. CeeDee Lamb is spectacular. And you're talking about all these guys run like 4.3, 4.4. All of them had 1,000-yard seasons. Take your pick. They're all studs.
Antelope.
And there's a lot of teams that need QBs too, so they're going to eat up, like a Joe Burrow or a Tua Tagovailoa. So these receivers are going to drop.
What about Sunshine from Clemson?
He's got another year in college.
Oh, wow.
He was a true sophomore this year.
Sunshine.
And with that nose, I don't know how the heck he can see anything down the field. Just saying.
It acts like a scope. And on the next episode of Giants Life, episode 2, the docu-series, it wasn't about Judge. It was about some other stiff. I started watching.
That's why I felt like we should write in and tell the Giants to fuck off. Like, don't they know we're using that for content?
Right, yeah. You film Judge, edit together a half-hour episode every week so that we can talk about it to fill time for this show.
Selfish assholes. I'm not seeing a whole lot of, like in these mock drafts, I'm not seeing a whole lot of these guys, like wide receivers, in the first round. They're going to fall.
Wow. A lot of people need linemen.
Yeah, they need linemen and running back and quarterbacks.
How flimsy is the secondary of football? To have a consistently good secondary is just like it's like 1,000,000 to 1. You have like maybe 1 or 2 decent guys back there, and then 2 shitheads, or maybe 1 good guy, or maybe 0 decent back there. There's like hardly any decent secondaries in the NFL.
That's got to be one of the hardest positions to play, though. I mean,
That's what I'm saying.
The rules are slanted towards the offense. The route trees and the concepts of the offense are so advanced at this point that most of the time the receiver at the snap has an option route. So it's not like traditional football where it's like, oh, you snap and he's doing a curl, he's doing a button, he's doing a post. Like, that guy at the snap is reading your post-snap movements and then changing his routes.
Yeah.
Like, it's kind of a mind fuck if you think about it.
Yes.
Yeah, and then if you got a good quarterback and go through his reads, then you can, take advantage of that. I think that's why you see these, like the first 2 or 3 games in the NFL season, you see some more high scoring and the defense is at a disadvantage before these defensive coordinators can really wrap their hands around how to handle, that, and you can't really jam them off the line anymore. You can hit them a little bit, within 5 yards, but you need to get your hands off once they break.
Wow.
But everything has become a situation where you're simulating pressure. You're kind of trying to do an amoeba line. You're trying to show a too high and then switch after the snap. Like, it's this massive chess game, and it's so technical in the NFL that it really just favors the offense in so many different settings that those guys that are playing secondary, like DBs and corners and slots and all nickels, those are really incredible guys. Like, they're elite beyond belief. But the game has evolved to the point where it's just such a disadvantage for them. They almost have to get lucky on some of these routes.
Right. I was just going to say, like, the greatest of all time, Deion Sanders, you could tell, A, he was just faster than everyone. But B, he took more chances that just paid off, like jumping the screen pass and just grabbing it and disappearing instead of, biting on it and the guy being wide open. You had to take those chances, and he just got lucky because he just had a speed like nobody else.
Yeah, it's a different game a little bit, and maybe Bob can comment on that. I think that the offenses have evolved a lot since Deion was there.
Oh, God.
But I also think a great pass rush is a DB's best friend.
Absolutely.
Yeah, get that ball out and don't let the quarterback go through the reads. Let them go through one or two progressions, and then they have to throw to the check down because they have a defensive end and a linebacker in their face, when the O-line collapses or they don't pick up a block. And, that's huge. And, yeah, Deion Sanders also, I think he had a good read too. And I think a lot of these cornerbacks they almost have to be as smart as the quarterback in terms of looking at what he's doing and then see the shifts that go on if he call an audible, and then what these guys are going to do, studying the game film. They have to put in almost as much time as a quarterback to be able to know that shit.
It's like you're playing the game mirror.
Yeah.
At like super speed.
At a constant disadvantage because you're just reacting.
And yeah, you have no clue what's happening. And the guy that you're copying knows.
Yeah, and then like you said, John, you have to guess. And then sometimes you get lucky and sometimes you blow it.
Right, and when you blow it, you look horrible.
Yeah.
And everyone remembers it the next game. Yeah,
they don't remember the pass you knocked down or the interception you got unless you ran it back for a touchdown. They remember when you blew the coverage because he did he started to do a button hook and then he pushed out again and then did like a post pattern and totally caught you flat-footed.
And what no one remembers is solid coverage throughout the entire game that no one threw to you.
No, exactly. Yeah.
So besides studying film constantly and being great at your job and having technique and all these things, you also have to have a really short memory because anytime you get fucked, like you need to come right back up with the same attitude and say, okay, we're going to try it again. Like that's a very rare human that can do that.
Where like you're constantly being bested. That's like why even when it's just an incomplete pass, they're like, yeah. It's like, you didn't do anything. It's like, well, I kind of did. You just did not see it at all. Like
knocked him down and the quarterback had to just get rid of it.
Throw it away, right. Bob, thanks for joining us here on Sports Society. Yes, we do want to create some sort of recurring role here where you come back and expand. I think on NASCAR, I think that's a good idea, Kev. I think we did nibble at the bone, but there's a lot of meat left to be savored. So we will need you to keep coming back, Bob, and I'll keep you in the loop on all of that. A brief peek at next week's episode now that March Madness is about to begin. Bracketology. Are we just going to when does it start, Kev? Thursday? In a week?
So this Sunday will be Selection Sunday, where you'll get the bracket. And then next week we'll start.
Is it Tuesday? I think Tuesday they start up.
Right. I forgot they have those early games now.
They've got those play-in games to get it to 68 to 64.
I love it. I love it. So I guess we'll just do our bracket on the next show. That'll keep us busy for a long time.
I think so. That'll be a solid 2 hours.
So we'll save the most humiliating act in sports, a.k.a. Gronkowski to the WWF and the NBA playoff race for the show after that. Next week, it's March Madness, guys. That will do it for us. Remember, if you are new to the channel, please do not forget to like, subscribe, leave a comment, leave a question about the show. Tell us what you want us to talk about next week. Actually, in 4 shows, because we've got a lot scheduled for many shows to come, guys. So buckle in. It's going to be awesome. Thank you so much for watching. We will see you next week. We gotta go.